All right, having a password apparently is no longer enough to keep your information safe online. That's according to experts at the National Cyber Security Centre. That's part of GCHQ. They recommend using a passkey instead. Chris, do you know what a passkey is?
Haven't a clue. I mean, the reality is that there are lots of people, though, who would think to themselves, having put together a password which has got uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols, random words stuck together. I mean, they probably quite like to know what a passkey is. So let's find out. Here's Ollie Whitehouse, who is the Cybersecurity Centre's Chief Technology Officer.
Passkeys in of themselves, there's no way to convince a user through social engineering or otherwise to divulge them. What we've seen with passwords and even with two-step verification is criminals have adjusted their techniques in order to elicit those from them. There are technical elements to passkeys which mean that there are strong protections against that, so it's not actually possible, and that's why there is no onus on the human to be able to detect whether or not someone is or is not being sincere.
I'm still no clearer.
Still don't know what a passkey is. Okay, hopefully Professor Kevin Curran does, cybersecurity lecturer at Ulster University. Good morning.
Good morning, Eve.
What's a passkey?
Well, if we start with a password, so a password is a secret we type in, we create it ourselves, and the website stores a copy of it. However, if the website gets hacked, then our secret is stolen. Okay. Or you could be moved to a fake, say, Google site, and there you go and type in your password, and your password has been copied. So we worry about that. Passkeys are more like a house key. Your device, either your phone or your laptop or your iPad, holds one half of the key, and then the website holds the other half, and you never type anything, but you're still able to log into your website. But if the website provider gets hacked, nothing gets stolen. So there's nothing for them to steal.
And so if you lose your device, well, presumably that has its own protections within it as well.
There's a little bit more maybe that you have to worry about. In other words, if all your devices go missing, and you can't log in, then you have to have some recovery key. But for the most part, generally it works beautifully. In other words, again, that you don't have anything flying over the network. Now, I will say you must have maybe a phone which has been around for about 8 years again. So not the older phones won't support this. But this really makes us a little bit safer. Again, it doesn't solve the entire cybersecurity, problems that we have. But this is a very good step forward. In other words, that generally you're unlocking your device to let this half of the password or of the secret go out by using your Face ID or your biometrics or a PIN code as well. So you have to have a PIN code on your phone to be able to do this. But the main thing is, whenever you were offered passkeys as an option, people should choose it always. It is safer. There are no downsides to it. Always choose passkeys because it makes your information safer online.
You've probably been ahead of the curve on this, have you, Kevin? Have you been using passkeys for a long time?
I've been using it for a few years. It's only been about 3 years. Again, now there generally things don't move that quickly within the cybersecurity space, but this is one of the things where there's been a large shift. Unfortunately, not all websites offer it, but the main ones like your Google and your Microsoft and your Amazons, they offer these passkeys again because there's a little bit of development needed on their side, but it does save them money in the long term because every time you get probably a message giving you a code which you send to your message and you have to type that code into a website, that costs the sites which send it. It actually costs them money. They pay, fractions of a penny, but that adds up when you have millions of customers. Also, a lot of large companies have help desks helping people reset their passwords, log in again. By having passkeys, this reduces cost across the board. So companies actually do like this very much.
And do you do this gradually?
Well, no. In one night, a company would roll it out and give it as an option.
As an individual, I suppose. Do you do it gradually across websites as it becomes available?
Exactly. Yeah. You do it on each website you visit. You'll be offered, the chance to store your passkey again and to store it on a secure enclave on your phone. That's why your phone has to be semi-modern as well. But I will say to anyone, you should have devices which are relatively up to date. When I teach cybersecurity, I go across all the things that we can cover within 12 weeks. And the number one thing I tell my students is whenever you're offered an update for your device or your applications, always update your applications, because the people like Google and Microsoft and controlling our ecosystem, they know about all the flaws and hacks which are out there, and they're trying to move ahead. So always update your devices.
Okay, great advice there. That's Professor Kevin Curran from Ulster University. Thank you.
You see, you are using a passkey though. You are already doing it. Yeah, you absolutely are. On your phone, do you use Face ID or you use your finger?
Well, I'm realising that as Kevin was speaking there.
See, we all were doing it. We didn't even know. 7:31. In the next half hour, we'll be sorting out rows in schools, not with teachers, but actually with pupils. First, let's get the latest news. Here's Angus.